Nice. Oh, hey, it's me, the evil stepmom from the Parent Trap, here to send you to boarding school and take your dad's vineyard. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. We're gonna make chocolate cake. Welcome back. I'm Lauren. Welcome to my channel. Apron. You've been asking, I've been listening. We're gonna be making a 1-bowl gluten-free chocolate cake, 1 bowl only, with a vegan option. Super easy to make it vegan, like a quick switch out, because I like to give you options. So we're gonna start right away. My oven is preheated to 350. What more is there to say about that? Okay, I said I need a 1 bowl. I need a 1 bowl. I'm so sorry. To start, you need 2 large eggs. If you're making this vegan, you do not need 2 large eggs. You need 1/3 cup of water and a tablespoon of vinegar. And you're gonna put that in this bowl. And then there's literally nothing else that's different. Should we do it one-handed? You know, I learned how to do them one-handed from the movie Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn. Not the one with Harrison Ford, but I think that one might be underrated. I would just always put it on as a kid and think it was going to be Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and it wasn't. And I hate that, so now I don't like that movie. Next, so we have 2 eggs, 2 cups of sugar. I like to use half and half. So this is 1/2 cup of packed light brown sugar. I think that the caramel undertones in the brown sugar are really nice with the chocolate. Okay, and then 1 cup of white sugar. And we're gonna whisk that until it's like blended really nicely. And I'm doing this by hand. You can do it by a mixer, but I think it's nice to see that like you can bake stuff without investing in a huge ass mixer, you know? Whisk it until it gets like quite pale, and the sugar, you can tell that the sugar's dissolved a little bit. Ooh. Okay, beautiful. To this, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of neutral oil. I'm using canola, sunflower works. Again, I don't really use coconut oil because it does get so firm at room temperature, but it's summer, so like that wouldn't even matter right now. So I'm gonna whisk this in. Okay, and I'm gonna whisk this pretty good. It's a little bit easier now that we've got that oil, but I really want that like all mixed. And it gets really shiny and ribbony, right? Okay, 3/4 cup of cocoa. This is not Dutch processed cocoa. It's just like a regular, it's an organic fair trade cocoa from Costco. But you can use anything, Fry's cocoa, whatever. I do encourage you to use the best quality chocolate that you can get, because chocolate is such like, I don't know how to say it. It's like blood chocolate, you know? There's a lot of unethical labor that goes into chocolate, so I think it's really worth it to buy the best that you can get if you're going to choose to consume chocolate. That's what I think. You do you. I like to whisk the cocoa in because the cocoa is, oh God, hypo something. Anyways, it doesn't mix with water without a lot of force naturally. It doesn't dissolve. So mix that slow. If you're using a mixer, make sure it's on a low setting, or you will certainly have cocoa all over your house. This recipe is a total ripoff of the Hershey's cocoa powder cake recipe. I've just like increased the chocolate, played around a little bit with different things, but like you can't really improve on that. And my best friend Julia's mom, Elaine, swore by this recipe, so I swear by this recipe. So next I'm going to be adding, sorry to look at my thing. I'm gonna be adding 1 cup of dairy-free milk. I have soy milk. I'm using this soy milk that doesn't have any added gums to it, which I haven't really talked about before, but a lot of dairy-free milks have emulsifiers and gums in them, just to keep them together to stop them from separating. Because like if you've made almond milk or any kind of like plant-based milk at home, you know how much it separates. These gums are in there as stabilizers, but they are also adding gums to our cake. So you could end up with like a stodgy cake layer if you're adding these additional gums and not accounting for them. So if you can find like an organic soy milk or any kind of milk that doesn't have gums, that's great. If you can't, I mean, it's also fine. It'll just be like very slightly different. So a cup of dairy-free milk goes in there. And again, it's like, you gotta stir it carefully. And over here, I've already prepared 3 6-inch cake pans with my lining paste. You could also use 2 8-inch cake pans. This is taking forever. I'm trying to talk calmly to make myself whisk more calmly, I think. All right. Okay, so instead of adding vanilla, and you can totally add, like vanilla is a really great ingredient for bringing out chocolate flavor, but what I prefer is coffee. If you're avoiding caffeine or you don't like coffee, you could totally add a teaspoon of vanilla right now, but I'm gonna add coffee powder. This is espresso powder. You can also just use instant coffee. Doesn't matter. Alternatively, we're gonna be using some hot water later, and you could substitute hot coffee if you don't have an espresso powder or an instant coffee. Mix that. And I'm very serious when I say this is one bowl. We're not gonna pre-mix our dry ingredients. We don't need to, it's fine. One bowl only. So I've got 2 cups of gluten-free flour. I'm using Bob's Red Mill, 1 for 1. It's my favorite. This already has some xanthan gum in it. If you were using an all-purpose flour mix without any xanthan gum in it, I would add like 1/4 teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum just so that your cake can get some good height. Now I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. And then in this bowl, I have 2 teaspoons of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder, just to give it some height. This is gonna be really thick when you whisk it, but don't worry, it's fine. So this is the magic part of this recipe and why it is so good. So you're gonna whisk this and be like, oh God, this is way too thick. This isn't gonna work. Thinks I hate it. Nah, we're gonna add a cup of boiling water. Freshly boiled. And we just add that in here. And you're gonna stir it slowly. And the hot water with the cocoa helps to kind of like activate some like deep chocolate magic that's in there. It also helps with like the chemical reaction with the baking powder and baking soda. So just stir. It's gonna be really liquidy, but it's gonna thicken up as the flour absorbs that moisture that we added. So you can see it's a lot more liquidy than other cake batters that I've shown you. Now I'm just gonna put it in the cake pans. I brought my scale here so I can do it evenly, but that's just me. Okay. You could even do like 4 6-inch layers with this much batter. There's just so much in here. I like how I like started measuring it with my scale and then abandoned it, which is typical. Okay, beauty. I'm gonna pop these in the oven for about 30 minutes. I personally like to underbake them a little bit so there's just like a hint of fudginess. Okay, the tops might crack a little bit, but that's totally okay. Okay, so these are out of the oven. They're very firm and bouncy on the exterior and like have just the slightest amount of squitch, which I like because I like cake very fudgy. I ran my spatula around these when they first came out of the oven, so they're nice and loose, but I'll do it again. Oh, sorry, I'm like breathing so hard right now. It got so hot from the oven being on. It's very humid. Okay, so don't use your hands, honestly. I have the old nerve damage from years of this. So you can see that they're very domed. That's obviously fine. We'll just cut the dome off later. Whew. Oh, they're tall. Okay. I'm gonna let these cool completely. Always, please put your cakes in the fridge or the freezer, especially in the summer, because they will, anytime you see a cake mess where icing is sliding off, it's a warm cake. That's your problem. And then we'll trim the tops off of these. I can't stop touching them. And I'm actually gonna show you how I frost it for just like a super simple chocolate cake that you could have on a Tuesday or dress it up, make it elegant for a dinner party. That was a deep reference for my friend Julia and Olsen Sugar. The cakes are cool. I'm just gonna trim the domes off the top. And then I'm gonna chocolify this frosting and we're gonna make a beautiful, perfect chocolate cake. Not even with like fancy piping, because sometimes you don't want that, and that's fine. There are better ways to cut the top off of these that result in a faster way. Probably. But we're going on expert today. One of those ways is to spin it. Oops. Instead of just sawing. But look at that. Beautiful. These I'll like save and chop up into little pieces and like put them in containers with frosting and give it to my friends. K-cups. These are just gonna chill while I prepare the frosting. Oh, food in my mouth. What I have here is about half a batch of my Swiss meringue buttercream frosting, which I'll put a link to. And all I'm gonna do is add half a cup of melted and cooled chocolate. Okay, I'm using Enjoy Life chocolate because it is allergen free and it tastes really good. I'm just gonna put this on my mixer over there. I didn't want to have to get an extension cord. Don't be mad at me. Okay, so I let this go for a couple minutes. It's kind of like a milk chocolate, which I like, but you could always add more chocolate. Just keep in mind that if you add more chocolate and you put it in the fridge, it's gonna get very firm. Cake circle, you can just use a plate. And I'm not gonna pipe today, which I know is like not my regular vibe, but I think it's good to show that you can do that. So a little frosting so that this sticks either to your cake circle or to your plate. And a centimeter thick sea salt. This is from this cool company in Nova Scotia called OK Sea Salt, and it's like very astringent and acidic, but also like sweet. So I'm just gonna put some of this salt. You could also use like a Maldon crispy salt, something that's like not like table salt. Like in a pinch, you could use kosher, honestly. So I've just sprinkled a little bit on there, and that saltiness is just gonna be like bam. And I like that because you'll get a little bit of crunch with your tooth, so you get like that nice thing. Delicious. I flipped these over so that the crumbly side that I cut off the dome is on the bottom, because I don't have to deal with that ish. Okay. And then give it a little smush, a little tappy tap. It's been good. And you're just gonna do a crumb coat. Put a very thin coat of frosting over it to stop any crumbs from getting into your exterior frosting. This is the primer, you know? Make sure you get it everywhere. Put this in the freezer, and then we're gonna finish it up with just like beautiful, like swishy, dreamy frosting. Okay. I just tried some of the cake scraps with the frosting. It's so good. We're gonna keep this super simple for the days when you don't want to clean a bunch of stuff. Am I the only person whose main motivation is not wanting to do dishes? Because like, I mean, from the time I started recording this, I've done so many dishes. All the nail polish I put on is gone. What's the point? I'm going to apply a pretty thick layer of frosting to the top and the sides, and then I'm gonna show you how to get like the swooshy swoosh, you know? Like all around the base and stuff, and you can always just wipe up any messes or any frosting that you like slop around with a paper towel, and if that's not working, just moisten it. It'll be fine, just be patient. Okay, so here's the move. It's like I'm wiggling it in my hand like this. Wiggle, 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 while I swoosh. Okay? And like, I'm also kind of pulling up and letting go, because I just want to see how the frosting falls. You can kind of hit it, so you'll get some whooshes and some floops. You know, whooshes and floops. It's fun. It's meant to look ruffled and, you know, like in one of those spinning cake cases at a diner or like something like that. Okay, so here it is. I'm gonna put, because I simply can't be tamed, oh, this is almost empty, gold glitter on top, obviously. This glitter is made from gum arabica, and it's gold, and it just looks like little pieces. I ordered it online, and I just think it looks cute. So we're gonna put a little bit of that on top. Yeah. Let's see it on a proper cake stand. And there you go, a perfect, like, 1950s housewife realness. We have to pose beside it like this. Chocolate cake. Chocolate cake with milk chocolate frosting and crunchy sea salt. It's so good. I would like to slice into it to show you how it is, but I'm saving it for later. So we're gonna taste it how I usually taste cakes, which is, oops, a little handful, a little handful, a little bit of the salt. It's so good. I find it that chocolate cakes are often very heavy, but this one is very light and fluffy, but still very chocolatey and fudgy. It's like, doesn't make sense. And the frosting, because it's like the meringue-based frosting, if you're from Canada, it reminds me of a McCain Deep and Delicious like chocolate cake, which I'm telling you a secret like a toddler. I'm gonna whisper it in your mouth instead. You can bake this batter in like a tinfoil tray and then use a star tip to like boop, 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 this Swiss meringue chocolate buttercream on it, and you can make a dummy vegan or gluten-free, or vegan and gluten-free McCain Deep and Delicious cake. So please do that. Please make this cake because it's to die for. Divine chocolate cake. It's on my menu. I literally sell this. People love it. Now you know. I'm gonna go put this somewhere you can't find it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please comment and like talk to me about your baking stuff, because I really like it when people ask me questions and like talk about their business, and then we can talk about your business. You know. Thank you. Bye-bye. One bowl only.